one of the best songs. Anyway. Me up 5%. Well, I was like 5% low there. I had it set to like 95%. Anyway. Into the Rising Stone. Into the stones? Hey, K-Rat, can you get that other dingus on the line and see if he's alive? He doesn't want to be on the mic anymore, so Crash is spared from that. Anywho, let's get this expansion started, shall we? Maybe he'd nap. Yep. Good news, Magnarmus. We've had a stroke of luck in our search for that beacon. Apparently, our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. A path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down there, checking under the rocks and peering into every nook and cranny. Still, it looks like there's a lot of ground to cover. And we better go and give them a hand. My thoughts exactly. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is this mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again, meaning we have no time to lose. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way. Now we get a frickin' metal quest accepted track. So did I. I texted him too. He's missing the start of the best part of the game. Taking a cat nap. Well, he is Frank the Cat. Heading to the survey site, sir. It's on the eastern shore of the lake, and the swiftest way to get there is by boat. Well, do I trust that boat? Sure. Alright, I made it. Live on the boat. Oh, it's not just treason, it's heresy.
Look how many people there are! Should we get to it then? Pick up anything that seems the least bit device-like, and we'll make ourselves a pile.
Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour, maybe you'll change our look. We've found bugger all without you.
Biggs! Wedge!
Aye, aye. Well, we could hardly say no to a call for aid from the Scions. Jesse called it the chief of some other business, so we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Thrice as hard, even.
What about Nero? Where's he?
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
I'm not seeing anything out here.
He will fall out of the
Do you reckon
ductwork
you could
at some
squeeze in
point.
there, Wedge?
You're right.
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Tataru, no! We couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be fine. This receptionist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Sorry,
It's got the
I meant to
Ironworks
say,
logo on it.
the scholars haven't finished their preliminary assessment of the site yet, so we're not supposed to venture too far in. What's that you got there? Now that looks promising.
Isn't that the Ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Now I have you.
You are right.
What's happening?
Stay with me. Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait,
Rewind the gates.
this must be it. The device. Oh, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Oh, safe journey, warrior of light. Find our friends and bring them home.
The dawn's light will shine again.
Oh, do not look at me so.
Oh, why you gotta bring that up again?
There's no freedom in that.
This is one battle you cannot fight.
Away with you.
We did everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
All the crack rocks of the past. all haunting me.
Your time has not yet come.
From endless dreams I awake. Something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
Rare to meet someone out here who's not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
Nice. But it's bright as day.
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me granddad, God's rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten old drunk, you, he'd reply. Over 100 bleeding years ago, that's when. You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it. Ah, got to you, did they? Poor beggar. That explains it then. Well, I've roads to travel and wares to sell, but you'd best hurry along to the town nearby. Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. 'Tis the biggest settlement for malms around. Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the Crystarium. Dizzying heights it rises, the gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. There, it will all begin anew. Between dark and light, the pure and the corrupt. The one true struggle.
The one true struggle. Ooh, title screen. Time for the best Icelandic accent in the game.
Halt! Every face in this city I know. Yours, I do not. This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions. From where do you hail?
Ul'dah, the source. Ul'dah is the city I started in?
Do you take me for a fool? No such place exists. Had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin, but instead, you chose concealment. And I will not suffer you to pass. That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand, ring and all.
And we never saw that traitor again.
Everything all right, Captain?
Quite all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more. But I see you've met my guest. I will escort him to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Who was your favorite merchant? Fantastic.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private. Right then, before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons. I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you are still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief. And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
Do you have any idea how much trouble you caused?
An inkling, yes. I can only beg your forgiveness. Matters here forced my hand, but all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the first, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity.
And a weak one at that.
It was to save the first from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. That I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. Though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try, for in saving the first, you would bring salvation to the source as well. But what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
Such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
And here we are. Welcome, my friend, to the Crystarium. Yay, good XPs again. Now, full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you to first gain a firmer grasp on the situation here. To that end, I would like you to visit a few of the Crystarium civic leaders and glean something of this world and its predicament. As you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, a convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you would in theory be able to reach all the way back along your etheric trail and find a connection in the source, believe it or not. I strongly suggest that you complete this attunement before venturing any further. After you have done so, walk up the steps to the Aetheryte and head out to the left to arrive in the Crystalline Mean. This is where you'll find our collective crafters and gatherers, as well as their spokesman woman, Atlas, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Morin. Reach him and his cabinet of curiosity. You'll want to avoid the aforementioned steps, take the exit to the left, and simply continue straight down until you come up to the large doors at the end of the path. Third and final person I should like you to meet is Bragi, our man in charge of trade and distribution. He is to be found in the markets, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aetheryte Plaza. In seeking out each of my colleagues, you will visit the major districts of the city, hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough. Crystal clear. Ha, very good, I concede. The layout of the Crystarium is more historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be in finding the right way to approach its citizens. As you discovered during your encounter with the captain, the people of this world are unaware of the existence of other stars, and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim that you share a homeland with the Crystal Exarch. There is an unspoken rule here that about peering too deeply into that particular mystery. When you've finished making the rounds, pray meet me in the large courtyard at the center of town. Until then. Alright, walking around and talking to people. Let's go! Give me this rock. Focusing your senses, you detect the flow of vastly distant currents of ether. The connection to these energies is faint but stable. It should allow teleportation to the Aetherites in the source. Alright. The stairs. We'll talk to Catalyst first. Glad to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. I'm going to guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. Safer and more civilized too, thanks to us in the mean. We work together to procure materials and resources and craft the goods which make the city life possible. This is the place to visit if you need a coat mended or a kettle forged. Just don't go thinking it'll all be handed to you on a plate like those Yulmoran layabouts. Here in the Crystarium, we work for a living. I see you're no stranger to honest labor. You don't have that whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you're from? Same place as the Crystal Exarch. Oh, one of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him. There we go. And any friend of his is a friend of ours. It really is quite incredible when you think about it, to say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence, pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, just desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began, as the Exarch's invitation buildings started filling up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into the living, thriving metropolis you see today. The city's stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looks exactly the same as he did back then. He is indeed a man of many mysteries. For all his secrecy, he has never yet let us down. So if he and you wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you've ought to contribute on that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had the chance to settle in. Just ask for Catless, and I'll find a niche here in the Crystalline Mean. You can help us. You can help us keep the cogs in the city greased and tuning. Yep, I have learned about life in the Crystarium. So gonna grab this. Back. I'm gonna go north this way. This city is huge compared to the other cities. Wait. This big city. Up the stairs. Excuse me, sir. You recently come to the city, perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic roles, you see, and, well, What I mean to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll, even? A scrap of scribbled on parchment? My apologies. Literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. Librarian Morin at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve that what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any title in particular? Mayhap a spot on academic research? Oh, so you have an interest in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives, I quite agree. I would prefer something visual to accompany the account. Then I think I have an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment and I'll fetch it for you. Kids book time. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair? Make yourself more comfortable. On with the lesson then. A 100 years ago, or near enough to not matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadow Keeper and the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of the tainted deed, the light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It pooled and swelled without cease until the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called it this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet just when it seemed all would be lost, a savior appeared before us. The Oracle of Light, she stood twixt us and the approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood. Thus was Norvrant, and Norvrant alone spared the fate of erasure. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These sin-eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from Norvrant's sky. Even now they circle the remaining bastions of civilization ever to hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I would be glad to retell it for you. Or if you would rather I speak of other matters, that too would be my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. Alright, Morin taught us about the Flood of Light. To here. And we're gonna teleport to the Aetheryte and then go south. Groggy. New to the city, friend. The spinning head and wide eyes give you away. How can you see my eyes through these sunglasses? Look, my name is Bragi, and I'm the master of these markets. They give the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it too florid by half. In any case, our merchants stock a range of equipment for humans such as yourself. So finding something in your size shouldn't be a problem. Sorry, did you say Humes? Is something wrong? Let's see if we can enlighten you. See those in front of us? The shorter one is a Hume, like you. And the taller one is an elf. That sturdy individual over there is is a Galgant. Plus the one with horns is a Drawn. And then you have the large scalpy chaps with long tails and a knack for raising livestock. That would be a Zune. The Zune. Which apparently is not the name you know them by. Now I'm curious to know which far-flung region you hail from. The same as the Exarch, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much further flung than that. We've had a few of your lot pass through in recent years, and despite their obvious learning, they've floundered over the simplest things. But not to worry. Should you find yourself confused by the local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your questions. Alright, we've learned about the peoples of the First. I'm gonna go into this etherite. And to the east. Well, how did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clearer picture of this world and its people? Yes, it seems you were treated to a most thorough introduction. I understand that it was something of a chore, but 'twas necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may be noted that details were sparse. The structure is in fact the self-same one you know from the source, transported to the First in its entirety. It was my first attempt at breaching the boundaries between worlds, something of a trial run for your eventual crossing. And although I do not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the wheels of fate in motion. You've done as I requested, and learned something of the world in which you find yourself. Now it's time I fulfilled my half of the bargain, and explained what has befallen your comrades. That is a conversation I would rather have in the privacy of my quarters, however. I must go ahead to the tower and organize a few things, but I shall see what the guard knows to admit you. Just like that, then Grahati is... I am not familiar with that name. Is there something I should know? I locked a catboy in that tower. An extraordinary tale, but I'm afraid I found no such individual residing in the tower when it passed into my care. Mayhap we can revisit that mystery another time. For now, I think it best we focus on the present. Yeah, there was an entire raid series where I locked a catboy in there. Greetings, sir. The Exarch awaits you within.
Welcome to the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have much to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind. Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow scions. To put it simply, they are here in the First. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the Source. In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the First, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted. That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence, and thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time. As for your companions, however, Y'shtola and Urianger have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5. Even our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the First for almost a year. My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well.
So they're here because you got the wrong number?
As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are, in truth, merely spirits that one can see and touch. Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
What have they been doing all this time?
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning, at least. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift. In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future. That which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the First was rejoined with the Source. This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes. Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die. And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the First, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity. Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
Aye, but I'll see that you keep that promise.
Excellent. You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
Bobby, what did I tell you about messing with the fabric of time? Bobby, what the hell? What? The Crystarium boasts a number of residential districts. But I've been informed that a room has just become available in the Pendants, which, as it turns out, is perfect. Our path there will take us past the markets, as I was hoping to give you my own introduction to their wares. Come along.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here. Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough. Each nation once minted its own coins, but 'twas all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice. From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
Hey look, tomes of poetics. Armed enough of those.
But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your homeworld. Avan Kerm Sin?
Yes, I'm here! Of course I'm here! What amusements do you have for me today?
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine gentleman is a friend from a distant realm. And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from his home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?